Yes.
Hello and welcome to the second live session. Second live session in the course User-Centric Computing for Human-Computer Interaction. So in this live session you can ask your doubts if you have encountered any problem during the last few weeks, and I will try to address your queries, your doubts, or if any clarification is required as much as possible. Please note that in this live session there will be no lecture and I am not going to deliver any lecture. So I would like to request all of you to post your queries, doubts for clarifications if you have any. So I would like to again request all of you, those who are watching, if you have any queries, please post it here so that I can respond. So Bala Mandhar, I could not get your question. Convergence and divergence in what sense? Is it related to course material or is it a general question? Can you clarify? Okay, let me move to the next query put in by Motoji. What path advanced material should we choose after this course so we can practice the HCI concepts in our projects as software developer? Right, so there are actually different ways to look at it. So if you are trying to build a user-centric system, so there is the design part as well as the technology part. Now, if you are planning to focus on the design part, then of course you have to learn more about design patterns for interactive systems. Then this design methods or design principles, guidelines. But if you are more interested in the technology aspects of implementation, then definitely there are many interesting technological developments that are taking place nowadays to enhance the user experience in user-centric systems. For example, application of AI, machine learning, deep learning technologies, or say computer vision technologies, or say affective computing, where using this intelligence techniques, we are trying to detect the state of the user and based on that trying to respond through the interface, plus speech processing, and above all, as I mentioned, you can also look at holistically to this problem from the point of view of ubiquitous computing, where you want to create an environment, whole computing environment where users will not be aware of the presence of the computational facilities, but they will just use it like any everyday objects. So there you require this peripheral interaction techniques, you require context sensitive computing, you require natural computing or nature inspired computing. So there are many things where you can actually make a mark in building usable systems with enhanced user experience, either from a design point of view or a technology point of view. I hope I managed to answer your query. Bala Mandar, I still don't get this. In the solve stage, you are asking for convergence and divergence. Now, what is the solve stage? And I am unable to understand what is the stage. The stage is coming from where? Is it part of a process? Okay, while I wait for Bala Mandar's further clarification, Let me move to next query, Mohesh. How far we empathize for a problem? I think the question you posed is not very clear. Uh, so is it a kind of a broader generic problem you are referring to, or specific to the material covered in this course? And then other point is, what do you mean by empathizing with a problem? Can you be a bit more focused? Is it related to anything we covered in the course, or it is a generic problem irrespective of whatever has been taught here? Sai Gopal is also having similar issue. Solve is considered in which phase, divergent or convergent? So I don't remember I have taught these concepts in this course. Are you sure you are supposed to put this question here? I think it may be part of some other course. Or can you be more specific in terms of the lecture number or module number where I mentioned these things? Just for your information, so this is about the course User-Centric Computing for Human-Computer Interaction. But the questions that you are putting in, it appears to be not related to this course. So please check whether you want to put these questions here. Or please tell me which module and lecture these concepts were covered. Design thinking course. Sorry, I don't think that is part of this course. So maybe you are referring to some other course. I would like to request you to kindly pose these questions to the concerned instructor for that course. Please post your queries related to the topics covered in this course, User-Centric Computing for Human-Computer Interaction. Okay, Moto G. Yes, there are different types of eye trackers available. Now, if you do not have the means to buy any eye tracker, which is costly, of course, you are right, then alternative approaches are there, like you have to, of course, at the cost of accuracy, you can make use of some webcam with computer vision techniques to create your own low cost eye tracking solutions, where these computer vision techniques can be used on these webcam images to track your eye position. And there are ready-made tools you may find on the internet for this, but their accuracy, of course, will be not as high as a good quality eye tracker. So you may face some accuracy issue there. Otherwise, there are alternative approaches like user eye tracking models, eye behavior models. So both descriptive as well as predictive models you can make use of, which assumes the general eye tracking behavior of an average user on a visual display. So using that models, you can qualitatively or quantitatively predict your scan path or eye movement behavior, which you can make use of. Again, it will not be as good as tracking with a good quality eye tracker, but it is workable. Okay, I hope I answered your query. Let me move to the next one. User-centric computing concepts are SDLC guidelines, please. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. So SDLC is not a set of guidelines. So it is a collection of stages through which we develop a system. Typically equivalent to software engineering life cycles that probably many of you have covered in your undergraduate curriculum. So one of the stages is of course design. Now in design, in case of user-centric system, we can have interface design as well as code design. So the guidelines pertain to interface design. There are some design guidelines available which I covered in the course. Now what more you want to know is not clear from this question that you have put in. So two sets of guidelines I have already covered in the lectures in the course. Beyond that, there are guidelines, but of course those are specific guidelines. So what exactly is your question? I am not getting your query. You are putting in topic names. So guidelines is basically one particular concept where there is a list of rules which ideally we should apply while designing interfaces. Now, computational user models are different. So, there we predict some parameters, some metrics to come to a conclusion about the design. Now, these two concepts are totally different, and under computational user models, we have covered many models in the course. I would like to request you to kindly go through those lectures again to understand. Similarly, go through the lectures on guidelines again. So, two sets of guidelines I covered. One is Schneiderman's 8 golden rules, and other one is the 7 principles by Norman. There are many more guidelines, of course, but these two will give you some idea of what guidelines are. Similarly, there are many predictive user models or computational user models. We covered 3 groups of such models for classical models, contemporary models, and some advanced models. So please go through the corresponding lectures. So with the models, we can predict certain metrics, parameters like typing speed. We want to predict typing speed for a given keyboard design. We can apply a model, computational user model, and predict it. Okay. That is a very good question, Motoji. So you can actually, if you have not done this course and would have tried to build a software, those same software, most likely in 99% cases, you would have ended up building a software for end users. Or in other words, what we are calling in the context of this course as user-centric software. Now, if you had not done this course, probably you would not have been aware of many things that you should have considered while building the software. Once you are taking those into account, like how to take care of usability, how to design interface, how to use predictive models to predict certain parameters of an interface so that its usability can be improved, how to empirically study, how to collect requirements, how to build prototype and test. All these concepts, if you had not learned, then probably you would have ended up building a software that may look good at the first glance, but probably it would not have served the purpose of a true usable product. So the idea is that the same software you would be building, software that are meant for masses, whichever you would have built anyway, but now you will focus more on usability aspects, and once you do that, then your software will be usable software or UI UX engineered software. That is the difference. So those steps, those processes, those concepts, tools that you have learned in this course, if you are going to apply to build, say simply e-commerce website. Suppose you are building something like that. If you apply those concepts, gather requirement, follow guidelines, and build prototype, test, then apply user models to predict user behavior, accordingly change your design. If you do all these things, then it will be an engineered software where usability is taken care of. If you don't do this, then it will not be an engineered software. It will be just like any other software where usability concerns are not explicitly taken care of. So that is the difference. That difference you will make once you go through this course. I hope I could answer your query. I would just like to add one point that in relation to your query, MotoG, that after doing this course, you need not think about doing something totally different, but you can think of it as doing something same but in a better way, with more informed skills or with more informed decisions, knowledge, which you will apply to do the same thing in a better way. Yes, that is a very good question. So these agile methods have nothing to do with whether we are practicing uh, user-centric approaches or not. Agile method is a way to reduce the turnaround time. So earlier we used to follow the stages strictly. I mean, it was prescribed to use the stages strictly. Now it has been modified, and so different runs are proposed, which is part of agile uh, methods, as you may know, which actually, uh, although it is given a new term, but it is what used to be there earlier before these software engineering methods were developed. So it is kind of reinventing the things. But that's apart. Uh, in agile methods, you can still use this software centric approach, means nobody will stop you. Of course, the scale at which we can do it, if we are following a standard development life cycle, that we cannot do here. Probably we have to do it, do some quick process. We have to follow some quick method, like say for example this contextual inquiry we could not do as elaborately as have been taught in the class, but in the course, but maybe a scaled down version of it we can follow in agile method itself. So it is not that we cannot do it or we cannot integrate these concepts into the new age development life cycles. So as I said in respect to your earlier query, in this course you are introduced to a set of skills or a particular type of knowledge which you can use in existing frameworks or existing approaches to make it user centric. If you are not using those things, then of course it will be difficult to call those approaches user centrics. So there is, so in response to Motoji's question, so there is no specific approaches being developed in the field of AI or DL or computer vision for UI UX. Whatever developments are taking place in these areas that you have mentioned are applicable for UI UX system design. And so particularly what I can say is the application of the methods that are there or being developed in these areas in system design, which are user-centric. So I think some of these I mentioned in my course. Most important, one of the important areas come under ubiquitous computing, where this natural interaction, development of natural interaction is taking place. Now natural interaction means interacting with your natural behavior like eye gaze, speech, body posture, hand gesture. Here, how to recognize your behavior, that a lot of research activities are going on in that, so that with that you can actually operate a computer or an interface. So their application of deep learning and computer vision is highly involved. Similarly, major emphasis is also being given nowadays to affective interaction. That means interaction where user's state of mind is also being taken care of while producing some output. So essentially it means that you have to capture users certain parameters, mostly physical, through sensors like camera or thermal image or pressure sensors, using those or physiological data from wearable sensors, and using those you are going to predict the state of mind or the affective state of the user, and based on that you are going to do something on the interface. There also deep learning is being used, AI techniques are being used, machine learning techniques are being used, computer vision is also part of that type of research. So natural interaction, affective computing, or smart environments where it responds to the the environment responds to the need, physical and cognitive state of the user. These are latest research areas where these technologies from AI, DL, ML are being, or computer vision, speech processing are being heavily used to build better interfaces for the masses. Mohesh. Yes, definitely it is possible. Incremental life cycle, it is possible. Iterative life, all are iterative life cycles, iteration of stages. But conceptually, these two are, so we'll distinguish between the two. In incremental means, so you are building a system while following the life cycle stages. Whereas there are some other approaches where you don't build the system, rather you go through different stages iteratively to get idea, and then probably towards the development stage you build it rather than building from the beginning. So, so in that way we will distinguish. So iterative is the broad concept, incremental is one of the iterative life cycles. Okay, so we are reaching almost the end of the live session. So if you have any more queries, please post it here. Okay, that is a good idea. But right now I have no plan for offering any advanced level version of this course. Workshops may be planned, but right now I don't have any plan. So if it is planned, we will advertise on our website, IIT Guwahati website. So keep checking, and probably at that time you can join. Also, if you know of someone who is willing to arrange such an workshop, I will always be happy to help. So please let me know in that case. Okay, so we have a few more minutes left. So if you have any query, post it quickly. Okay, so say concepts are more inclined towards. Okay, so your query is related to uh, working alone. Now that will certainly be difficult because many stages in the development life cycle will require you to have teams to analyze data, to collect data. doing it alone will be difficult and most likely it will lead to biased decisions. So my recommendation is not to go for development alone. Should be part of some team. But even if you want to do it alone, those stages where you require a team, you can always assemble those team particularly only for those stages. Otherwise, uh, you can do it alone. There is no harm. But certain things is difficult to do alone. So there, it is recommended that you take help of some team. Everything is difficult to do alone. That is not only for user-centric system. Any software, if you are building it alone, it is most likely to be biased towards your own whims and fancy basically. It is always better to brainstorm within a team rather than taking all decisions alone. Then the issues that probably would have you would have missed, those would be apparent and then you will be able to take some remedial measures. It is not only for user-centric software. Any software or any system you are building, it is always better to take input from other people, either in the form of team, formal team or informal team. Okay, so I think only 1 more minute is left in any case. So I hope I got many interesting questions. So I hope I managed to answer most of your queries. If you have any further query, you can always drop me a mail. Or if you have any query related to the course which you could not post here, you can always contact the NPTEL office or you can contact me through my mail ID, which is available on the IIT Guwahati website. So that's all for today. Hope you have enjoyed the course. So this is the last live session, so there will be no more live session for this course in this offering. So I hope you enjoyed the course and those who are appearing for the exam, all the best to all of you. Thank you and goodbye.